Welcome back to another Monday. It's 12:30. It's live and LinkedIn live with myself, Ashley Leeds. I'm the 50-minute guy, and I have got the Black Knight in the green room waiting to see me. I feel like Robin of Batman and Robin because he's the Black Knight. But anyway, he'll be coming in to be telling us all about what we should be doing to get over our limiting beliefs, our imposter syndrome, why we feel we're worthless, all those things. So we're going to be having a good old chat with him. And I can already see loads of people in the chat waiting for us to get together. It's TBK and TT. So that's the Black Knight and Tigger 2. So without any further ado, let's bring in the Black Knight.
What a warm-up, what an introduction. Thank you very much. And great to see some of our greatest friends in the audience already. It's fantastic. Really looking forward to
isn't
this.
it? Isn't it lovely? And this is why I like LinkedIn so much. I love LinkedIn, and you'll get that from my content and what I do.
Yeah.
But we turned around and said we're doing this show together. You put a post out, I put a post, and all these people are bumped on. Oh, I'm going to come and see it. So look, Jeff Young, right, straight away is up there chatting, and also Kevin D. Turner. Both of these guys are here chatting in the green room before we even start, right? They're in America.
Yeah, Ohio and Texas, in fact.
They're in America, so it must be like the middle of the night, and they're coming in. And Joanne has joined us as well. So hi, Joanne. How are you today? Right. So Craig Allen, the Black Knight. First of all, why the Black Knight?
Okay, that's a great question, and I get asked it all the time. To the extent that I actually wrote a detailed answer on my website because I kept getting asked. In fact, I've been at networking events where people simply go, "Hey, it's the Black Knight." Can't remember my real name, but there you go.
Yeah.
The Black Knight actually came when I asked my nephew, who's a graphic designer, to create my business logo. And he created the business logo with the black chess piece, chess knight, as its center. And he did that because when he asked me about the type of business that I was starting off at the time, I explained that it was going to be working on business growth and business strategy, etc., etc. And his thinking is, what's more strategic than the game of chess, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he created the Black Knight chess piece, and I never thought about using the term the Black Knight until at a networking event where someone did exactly as I suggested a minute ago. And they said, "Hey, it's the Black Knight." And I went, "Well, okay, that sounds pretty good, actually. I think I might keep that." So I adopted it into my LinkedIn profile, and it's been part of my brand ever since. So
fantastic. And this is what we're trying to do is have a brand, have a persona, so
yes.
that people can hang on that. So Craig Allen, the Black Knight, what is it you do? Where are you? And how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling $1 million today, actually. I'm on the Ashley Leeds show. Come on. I feel great. Thanks for asking. I run a business called Different Mindset, which is a business and executive coaching practice. I work with entrepreneurs, business people in general, business owners, etc. And I use a system that I created called the 5 Pillars Growth Method. And then I also use a thing called effectively a workbook, which I send to people and I ask them to complete it because it makes them think more about their business and their lives than probably they've ever done before. It dives really quite deeply into their background, into the things that bother them, the things that make them feel great, the things that motivate them, etc., etc. And then we build goals around that, and we start to work towards these goals. I've actually become known and started to use the term accountability coach because I make 5 promises to every new customer, every new client. And the 5 promises I make are very straightforward. They are, I will coach you, I will train you, I will support you, I will challenge you, and I will hold you to account. So if you tell me you're going to do something, then you don't do it, I'm going to be asking you why. And once people get over the initial shock of that, they actually love the principle of being held accountable for their own actions.
Absolutely. And this is the key thing with coaching, full stop, isn't it? And I've been coaching for a long while now, and when I talk to people, I say, look, I'll be your shoulder to cry on. Maybe I need to give you a hug. Sometimes I'm going to need to kick your butt, and it's sort of like, oh, brilliant, that's just what I need. Because when you're running your own business, you can procrastinate all you like. It doesn't matter. You haven't got a sales manager moaning at you. You haven't got a senior director moaning at you. You've got to do all this yourself. So before I ask you the next question, I'm just gonna look, all these people in the chat today. So hi Michal, Kevin McAllis is here for the guitars. Take your pick.
Yeah.
And then we got Kevin D. Turner. He's moaning because we haven't put coffee in the green room. I got mine. Did you get yours?
I'm water today, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that water or is that gin or vodka? But Jeff is saying you got to bring your own coffee today. And we got G in the house as well, waking up nice and early. And you're going to have to, good morning, gents, fit like Faye Aberdeen. What does that mean?
Mark Cowison is a great friend, and he was always one of the regular attendees and contributors to a program that I was involved in every Thursday morning called the Big Live Breakfast Burrito. Mark's based in Aberdeen, and what he's using there, fit like, is Aberdeen Doric. It's a specific dialect from the Aberdeen area. Wow. Fit like means what like or how are you, effectively.
Right. Well, we're sound. Thanks, Mark. And
good to see you, Mark.
And someone else has brought their own cup of tea. You're not registered to be in here as your name. So every time you add your comment, just write your name in, and I can give you a shout out as well, LinkedIn user. So really not a problem. So my question to you then, if you're speaking to all these people, what is the common thing, common thread that all these execs, these business owners are having when it comes to limiting beliefs and why you're coaching them? What's the thing?
I would say most business owners that I've ever encountered, and that's not just since I launched Different Mindset, but in my entire career, they have growth issues, and they tend to happen around about the £1 million turnover mark for many businesses. Trying to break through that is really quite difficult for owner-led businesses sometimes. So quite often I get asked about how we're going to do that. So it's a case of putting a coaching plan in place that helps them to break through that barrier, break through that growth ceiling effectively. I think I mentioned to you when we were offline that in my 25 years in the IT industry, I never applied for a job because I was always headhunted from one company to the next to actually put a growth plan in place, and very successfully as a career, the results were exceptional. So that was always something that was a big thing for me. But the one that was quite surprising for me, and has become less surprising as I've done it more, is people ask me about, they want to become better leaders. They want to be better at leadership. And to that extent, they're getting into my area of passion, because I'm so passionate about leadership. And when I do get invited to talk at events, it's usually about leadership. And I quite often start it off by a relatively shocking announcement, which is, have you ever met one? Because everybody, I see people on LinkedIn saying, yes, I'm a leader in this and I'm a leader in that. No, you're not. No, you're not. Leaders are as rare as hen's teeth. And if you've ever met one, you will know when you've met one. That's my principle on it. And the only thing that bothers me more than that is that people say he's a born leader. Well, no, he's not. There's never been any such thing, and there never will be, because leaders are not born, they're created. Always created. You couldn't pick a leader in history that wasn't created, never born. So yes, leadership is a big thing, and people want to become better at it. And that doesn't mean that they're going to be leaders. And this is a popular misconception, in my opinion, is that just because people are good at leadership doesn't necessarily make them a leader.
Mm.
Leadership skills can filter on down through an entire company, uh, and they can be very, very powerful when used correctly, because they can be used for all kinds of things within the business. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a leader as such.
And when we start looking at running our own business, the first thing we're doing is we're just ourselves.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if there's many business owners out there that start their business thinking they're going to be the next Facebook, Google, Apple. They sort of like, oh, I'm going to do this. And well, for me, okay, I'm
Yep.
in shed, I'm in Devon. I just want to help a few people and hopefully turn a few quid to keep the bills paid. I don't have any ambitions to run the next huge company. I probably don't think I'll have any employees.
Hmm.
And so therefore I'm not going into this business thinking I'm going to be a leader someday. But what happens is we get a bit successful, or we take on a couple of staff, and then we get a bit more successful, and we take on a few more and stuff like that. Then we become a leader. What do we then need to be thinking about when we get to that stage of our business?
I think what you've just described there is a classic, the difference between a business owner and a leader. Business owners do want to grow, they want to employ people, and that's admirable and it's great and it's achievable for many of us, for most of us. Simply because you run a business and employ people does not make you a leader. I mean, Simon Sinek, for instance, who I'm sure you know of, Simon Sinek said in one of his videos uh, to a large organization, who are your leaders? And they said, well, they're board of directors. And he said, no, they're not. That's just a board of directors. They're just people doing their jobs. They're not leaders. And that, that's my thoughts on the thing as well. Leaders are, as I say, leaders are. I'm sure I wrote a post about this a couple of years ago, saying, leaders, have you ever met one? Because I would challenge most people that actually haven't met a true leader, uh, and and I know that's a difficult one for some people to comprehend, but it's just that my training in leadership, and I've been trained in leadership for 30 odd years, I still do not consider myself a leader. And that's why I think the people that I coach, they ask me, I want to become a better leader. That's admirable, it's great, and it's achievable. It does not mean that you will be a leader per se.
Yeah.
Uh, so leadership skills and leadership are different, in my opinion.
No, and I think that's an opinion that is shared by Andrew Slessor. He knows he can't be a leader. He's more a support for a leader and a teacher.
Yes.
And our LinkedIn user is Alison. So hi, Alison. Thanks for coming. Good old Jeff spilt the beans. And Tina's joined us as well. Tina with two eyes. So it's all the gang are here today. It's great, isn't it?
Great? You know something? It's like a who's who of the great and good of LinkedIn, isn't it? It's bloody
Absolutely.
marvelous.
Yeah, absolutely superb. So, so that's leadership, but we were also talking about mindset issues, imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs. Where do you see people having issues there, and what sort of things can they do to basically get over themselves?
It's this is a huge subject, and it's huge because it affects probably everybody at some point in their career or their business. Uh, and the limiting beliefs, which is the kind of umbrella term for all of the things that affect our confidence. So this imposter syndrome that you mentioned. Limiting beliefs are just negative thoughts that are in our own minds that prevent us from doing what we want to do the way we want to do it. And the way that I teach to manage that is by tackling it head on. Let's look at it. Let's look at what the deep-seated reasons for it are. Why do you feel like that? Right? Because the number of people that I've spoken to over the years who have said, well, he started his business at the same time as me, and he's now employing 6 people. I must be doing something wrong because I can't do that. Well, that's not the case. It doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It just means that you're doing something different, or she's doing something different. And it's a case of discussing it and delving into it and asking the questions. Why do you feel like that? So I quite often start my coaching with asking people to give me. I always start off by taking them forward 12 months. So if I was starting coaching with you today, I would say, right, you and I are meeting 12 months from today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've jumped into the DeLorean, the time machine.
Absolutely.
I've taken you forward to 12 months from today. We get out of the car and I want you to tell me what you've done since we last met in 2025. Tell me what you've achieved. Tell me what your business has achieved. What are people saying about you or your business? How is your business growing? What have you actually? What are your big hits? What are your most successful big hits? What are the 3 things that you're most proud of? Etc. etc. And people start to think, and I also instruct them that you must think of this in past tense. You've actually done this. So you're not saying, I'd like to, or I'm going to. You've done it. So what have you done? And what that does is it brings out the real passion behind the business and the business owner themselves, to the extent that they can start to talk as if they really have done this.
Yeah.
And what that does is that gives me items and topics to work on in their coaching, because we're going to get them to that stage. That's the plan, is to get them to that stage. And even at that early stage, I will push them to say, you can think bigger than that. You've got 12 months to do this. What are you going to do? What is your turnover looking like? What percentage is your net profit? Do you employ anybody? Who's your biggest client? How many offices do you have? Have you branched out? Yeah. And when you start to talk to people in real terms like that, you can actually see the passion starting to ooze out of them, because you're touching on things that they really want to do. They just don't know how to do it.
Yeah, that's a really good exercise. But I'm just thinking, wouldn't most of us just sort of like play it down a little bit? And whereas I'm just thinking of my grandson, you turn around to somebody, what you're going to do when you leave school, and sensible people, when they're a little bit older or our sort of age, I want to do this, I want to do that. But when you've got someone who's really young, like my grandson, he wants to be a Ninjago. That's a Lego character. That's what he wants to be when he grows up, or maybe a knight, and so he has got.
Knights are a good thing. Knights are good things, by the way.
Sorry?
Knights are good things.
Especially the black ones. But he's got no limiting beliefs. So when do we start having these limiting beliefs? Because he can be whatever he wants to be, and we all know that we can do that. But we start, oh yeah, but that's not going to happen, and and we won't be able to do that, and and we start talking ourselves out of these big dreams, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And the answer to that question, where do we get them, is we get them along the path of life. And in many cases, it starts off as an experience that's happened, maybe not necessarily in childhood, but in younger years. In my case, for instance, I got terribly bullied at school with a gang of 5 different people, and that's affected my thinking to this day. It's affected me right through my life, because that's how horrible bullying is. Some people, it's because of something they've experienced in a previous job or a previous occupation. Sometimes it's because they've got a real terrible bully type boss that talks down to them and talks all the confidence out of them. I've worked with people like that. I'm sure many of the people in this call have today. The thing is that it doesn't matter where they come from. It's knowing that to manage them and to get over them, to control them, the same techniques work on wherever the origin of them is. It always, if you master the technique of managing your limiting beliefs, then you can convert them into more powerful thought processes. And I often talk about creating habits, and it's, and this is why, I mean, I know you've talked about this in the past as well, is that everybody thinks that owning a business is a great thing, but in reality, being the owner of a small business or a one-man business like you and I, it's the loneliest place on earth. We don't have the benefit of that shoulder to cry on that you referred to earlier,
No.
or that person to hold us accountable, or that sales manager cracking the whip to say, we need more investment into marketing, boss. There's nothing like that. And it becomes a real difficult, vicious circle for business owners. And this is why I always say that if you own a business, I'm not caring what size it is, you need to have a mentor, a coach, or someone who tells you the truth and tells you like it is, doesn't dress it up. Which also takes me back to answer your question that you said.
I'm married.
Yeah, well, exactly, yes.
So
But
I do have some accountability, but this is the problem, isn't it? It's sort of like it is a lonely place. We're running out of time. We've got some questions here.
Already, goodness.
Yeah. So Mark Harrison is saying, what's your thoughts about having leadership responsibilities written into job descriptions and then having them challenged at regular reviews?
Right, who invited you along here, Mark? Well, you know my answer to that, mate. You know it yourself. The fact is that you can build in leadership responsibilities by all means, but you cannot build in leadership skills into a written job description. Leadership skills have to be trained. They have to be taught. They have to be experienced. I mean, if you look at some of the greatest leaders in history, some of my idols, for instance, were people like Sir Ernest Shackleton, regarded as the greatest leader of all time, which I subscribe to that thought. I think he is. And I often use his story of the Trans-Antarctic expedition when I'm talking about leadership to show you what leadership truly is. People like Maya Angelou, I consider her a leader. Che Guevara was an exceptional leader, but Che Guevara wasn't a born leader. He never had any leadership training, but he was forced into becoming a leader because he had to do something to protect his people in his country. That's circumstance that caused him to become a leader, an exceptional leader, as it turned out. But you could do the same with people like Admiral Nelson. You could look at Attila the Hun. You could look at every leader in history, and you'll find that there is a genuine reason behind them becoming a leader. They were never, ever born into leadership, ever. I'll stop now.
Oh, that's fine. Even the cats are agreeing with you. I love this from John. Jeff, I agree. I know my limitations. That's why I would never own my own business. And Andrew's saying when he was young, he wanted to be a lollipop man because then he wouldn't have to start work until 65.
Yeah.
So, there you go. I thought there was a few more questions. So if anyone else has got any questions, then that's fine. Joanne is saying that feeling the passion just listening. So your words are hitting home, Craig. So leadership. Imposter syndrome. It's all in the mind. What tricks can you give us, or what tools or ideas or thoughts that will stop us from self-sabotaging? Because that's what we do, isn't it? We self-sabotage all the time because Absolutely. Our brain, when we're neuroscience tells us that we're wired to keep an eye out for danger. Our brain is trying to keep us alive. So standing up in front of a room of people and talking, putting out a price that's quite high to get someone, trying to work this out. It's all stuff that our brain is saying, yeah, if you don't be doing that, you could get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. So anything that we could be doing to just get over ourselves?
I think the first thing is having someone alongside. If you employ a coach, then you're always going to have someone there who will stop you from doing the things that you're doing that are causing you to have this imposter syndrome or these limiting beliefs. And you know, it's probably not fair to say 100%, but very close to 100% of people that I ever meet, they have some kind of limiting belief in as much as they think they can't do something. And I try to nurture that thought process out of them. And what you find when you start to talk to them is that over their career or over their lives, they've actually picked up bad habits or lazy habits or techniques that might have worked 30 years ago but don't work in business today. They've had success with them in the past, but they've continued to use them or go to them, and they've not supported them or delivered the results today. And these, what I try to do with everyone is I try to say to them, look, what can we do with that? Let's convert that into a more positive thought process altogether. And I talk often about forming habits. Habit forming is an extremely successful but extremely difficult. If you talk to anybody about a habit, how long does it take to form a habit? Right now, for a dog, it takes one getting off with something, and a dog has picked up a habit.
Yeah.
To train positive habits into humans can take as much as 6 months, doing it repetitively. Yeah. So I teach techniques like one that you commented on the other day there, which is start, stop, continue, where you just write a column with the heading at the top, start, stop, continue, and you list the things that you want to start doing. You list the things that you want to stop doing, and you list the things that you want to continue doing because they're working.
Yeah.
Now, I do that passionately myself, and I do one every 7 or 8 days, create a new one. And it's a really powerful tool that works. I use techniques that are designed to actually encourage positive thought processes. And the more we do that, then the better and clearer they become on their goals. And you said something earlier about asking someone and that they'll hold back on their goals. If I say to you in 12 months' time, what have you achieved? They will play it down.
Yeah.
Well, the position of the coach is not to let them do that. This is where the challenging part of my 5 promises comes in, is challenge them. You say, right, you say you're going to take your turnover to £500,000 by this time next year, or you've achieved £500,000. But when I met you last year, your turnover was 450,000. So I don't think you're really challenging yourself here. I don't think you're being fair with yourself. So if you've got a turnover of 450,000 today, in 12 months' time, I want you to set a target probably of £1,000,000. And they're going to look at me and say, that's more than 100% jump. Yes, it is. But you know what? The worst case scenario is that you fail and you only hit 800,000, right? Which will still be 300,000 more than the target you were going to set.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So I would rather fail than be successful at a lower number. Yeah. And so I'll challenge them on things like I simply won't accept crap underachieving goals. It's not allowed. It's verboten, as they say.
Absolutely. Look, we've run out of time. I can't believe that. So many lovely comments and questions. Craig, if you can just go in and answer the questions that we didn't get time for, that'd be amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much to everybody for all your amazing comments. This has been absolutely superb. Right, I'm just going to give you a quick shout out to my guest. Well, it's not next week because we've got a bank holiday here in Devon, but the week after, I have got Caroline Hobden. She's Mrs. Accountex. She is going to be so busy because there's another show in Manchester. So we've got some news about that. So we'll be on in a couple of weeks' time. So next week, have a break, have a chocolate bar, whatever else you want to do. And there's a button here I can press. I can get Craig back. There he is. Craig, Thank you so much for coming on my show today. It's been absolutely delightful.
It's been an absolute pleasure. It's finished so soon. I was really enjoying that.
Good. No, so was I, and so was everybody else. So thank you to all of you for your lovely
Thank you,
comments.
everyone. Thank
And
you.
we will
Everyone.
see you next time. Cheerio.
Bye now.
Thank you so much for watching or listening to my show this week. I want to bring to you people that can help us running our business. I love having a chat. I'm very nosy, very curious, and I'd love to ask questions. So if you want to be a guest, or if you've got some ideas for guests, let me know. And if you want me to help you with your LinkedIn, get in touch, because I want to give you a voice. Now, that could just be using LinkedIn, but I do other things as well. So I can help you with a podcast, a live show, and all kinds of other amazing things. So get in touch. My name is Ashley Leeds. I'm the 15-minute guy, and you can find me on LinkedIn.